Good morning. Good morning. How are you? How you feeling? Let me know in the comments. By the way, I'm trying to share this one on my IG and WhatsApp so that we can yeah, I'm trying to share this one first of all because you're not sharing, so I need to be sharing. Um okay, I'm sharing my screen and I'm sharing my live session on YouTube. Um, and I'm sharing on IG, WhatsApp. Yeah. How are you? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comment. We're talking about the latest great news we have, and then we're gonna talk about the latest immigration news. Let me know in the comment, please. Let me know in the comments. How are you? How are you feeling? Where are you? Um, Let me know in the comment. Trying to pull the news tube meanwhile, so we can. Good morning, Giwa Hakim. How are you? Good morning. How are you? Yeah, I'm just sharing my live session everywhere, so some people could get in the session as well. Um, yeah, we're here to discuss the latest great news and then the latest immigration news. As far as the great news is concerned, we had a person who was under order of supervision. Remember, I talked about the person who was detained at the Canadian border by CBP authorities. He was detained there and was transferred to a detention center. And after all, he got released. We went to a bond hearing. He got released under bond, um, and he had to check in with ICE. So the first time he went to check in with ICE, ICE wasn't ready for him. They gave him the following week, which was last week, I believe. And he went there just for his first check-in. I told him that he no longer has to report to them. And he had the on-call bracelet. Um, they remove it too. And guess what? The case is still pending for appeal. That was really great news because now they don't do that. So, but the case is still pending for appeal, but he got released. Um, he no longer has to be reporting to ICE. Just for his first check-in, they just removed that. Just like that. We didn't do anything. Some people are just born lucky, I guess. Okay. If someone has been arrested for anything and he isn't guilty, that can affect himself in immigration proceedings. It's going to depend if he's being arrested for what charge. If the person is being charged, for example, do you know why the person got arrested? For what type of charge, first of all? Yeah, I need to know more, because if a person is arrested for and charged for theft related crimes, it doesn't matter if the person is guilty or not. that is mandatory detention and deportable type of uh, just because the person was charged. And when the person is proved not guilty, maybe, it's debatable as if they can waive that or not. But, some arrest is just not good on the immigration case, such as theft related crimes. So we want to know, first of all, why the person was arrested. For what type of charge? Because they have to charge you with something to arrest you, right? Yeah, I'm trying to see if we have some news here. TPS for Honduras and Nicaragua. TPS for Honduras and Nicaragua. What I say. As of July 3rd, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security has failed to make a determination as to whether Honduras and Nicaragua continue to meet the conditions for TPS designation. So they haven't published the registered notice yet. So meanwhile, what I say here, the TPS designation for work permit remain valid until the expiration, which is until January 5th, 2026. That's the work permit of TPS for Nicaragua, because the secretary hasn't made the determination yet. I have to share this one. So this is great news. Yeah, let me close the window. I hear some noise. Hold on, I'm coming. Sorry, I had to close the window. I was hearing some noises. So I was talking about TPS for Nicaragua, okay? What they're saying here. Okay, so this is what they're saying, okay? TPS for Honduras and Nicaragua, okay? They're saying that as of July 3rd, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security has failed to make a determination. In other words, they haven't said anything. So because they didn't say anything, TPS designation and work permit remain valid until the expiration date. In the case, Honduras and Nicaragua will be valid until January 5th, 2026, which is good news. Okay? It says that if the secretary failed to do so, the period of designation is extended for an additional 6 months, accordingly pursuant to. So, for those individuals, sorry, who have work permit with an expiration date of July 5th, 2025, based on category A12 and C19 for Honduras or Nicaragua, those cards are automatically extended until January 2026. January 5th, 2026. That's because the DHS hasn't said anything yet, okay? So if they haven't said anything, it's already, it's going to automatically be extended. So that's the case for Honduras and Nicaragua. Yeah, I'm trying to see something else. If we have something else. Yeah, the federal judge blocked DHS from ending TPS for Haiti. That's what we talked about last time. Immigration process. Okay, let's see what. The person is not guilty being arrested because was talking to sex workers. Okay. He's not guilty, but he was talking to sex workers. Okay. Well, if the person is applying, let's say the person is applying for US citizenship, okay? Even if the person is not guilty, that could undermine his naturalization process, because what they're going to say, they're going to talk about liking good moral character, but you know, it's debatable, right? Because the person wasn't charged, I mean, wasn't convicted, but he was charged for that. So that's debatable. If the question is it going to undermine, to some extent, yes, but it's just a way if they defend him properly, right? But under this administration, it's difficult to overcome those type of minor incidents. Not impossible, but difficult. Can someone with asylum pending also apply for EB3 jobs? Well, I mean, they could apply, but if are they going to get? Let me get this phone call. Sorry about that. I had to take this phone. I'll come back to your question. Give me one moment. I had to take this phone call because, you know, I'm a solo practitioner. Sometimes people call in the middle. I still have to answer them. Yeah. Okay. So, can someone with an asylum pending also apply for A3 job? The person can get the green card. I don't think so. The reason being is that because the person is not lawfully present at the time they apply for when the asylum is pending with USCIS, the person is considered unlawfully present. Okay, but there's been a lot of debate about if the person applied for asylum within that 6 months prior to the B1, because remember the B1 visa, you only allowed to stay here for 6 months. And after that, you have to leave. If you have multiple entry, then you can come back, but the only time you're allowed to stay lawfully here it's 6 months. So there's a debate on whether if the person applied for asylum with USCIS within that 6 months period, and then the application is depending with USCIS, then the person goes and apply for EB3 jobs, whether the person can get the green card. That's a debate because some people will claim, or they meet the exception of technical reasons. That debate was won in the Ninth Circuit, which is California and all those other states over there. But it's always difficult to win that argument. It's really difficult. It's not that simple. So the short answer to that is pretty much no, because of unlawfully present. Yeah, so let's see if we have another question here. When is likely work authorization coming up? First of all, for work authorization to come, you have to apply for it. It's not just coming automatically. If you apply for in March, you have to apply for work authorization after 180 days. Some people will argue 150 days, but I usually just apply after 180 days from the date that says on your receipt for the work permit. That's when you have the right to apply for work authorization. And then after you apply for it, then you wait another 30 days for it to come. It doesn't come automatically. You have to apply for it after you meet the requirements for it. Okay? If one has final order of deportation pending amount to the pending visa. Is it advisable to move? That will depend on the person. If the person is just moving to benefit from the Jimenez settlement, then the intent is already showing that it's fraud. You know what I mean? But if the person, let's say the person is moving because they got a job there, or the family is there, or they have a valid reason to move there, maybe they can argue that we move because we had a valid reason to move. But if you're just moving to take advantage of that settlement, that's fraud, because they're going to investigate. Nowadays, they're really investigating on a lot of things. So you don't want to be among those people who got cut into those investigations. You know what I mean? So nowadays, really, it's not advisable to just do things because you want to do things. You really have to think about it before you do it. But what I can say about U visa pending and final order of deportation, if you already have like a prima facie based on U visa, you can argue with that in terms of if they come to deport you, you can argue that you have a U visa pending and you prima facie eligible for U visa. Because they can let you go, because those person who went there for the check-in, because previous order of removal, final order of removal, U visa pending, under order of supervision, they went there and to check in with ICE because they had been, they have order of supervision. They have to check in with ICE. ICE was supposed to detain the person because that's what they're doing nowadays. But because of the U visa we see, they let the person go. So if you have a U visa we see, there's a solid argument to avoid deportation. Basically, if you have good lawyers, they can argue that. But if a person just wants to move so they can benefit from some type of settlement, that's fraud. Unless you can argue that you gotta have some good reason, because they're gonna investigate. Nowadays they're not playing around with those investigations. You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful what you're trying to accomplish. Nowadays they're really not playing with those investigations. You know what I mean? So you really have to be careful how you're trying to do things. Okay. So anybody else? We have another question. If we have something else, please let me know in the comment. But good question, Kelvin Matobula. That's a good question. Mistura Ajibola. Yeah, that's a good question as well. Even sushi. Uh, those are strong questions. I hope I answered those, right? Yeah, do we have anything else going on? Let me check. If we have the fees for by the way, Miss Tuha Ajibola, now you have to pay for the work permit application as well. The fees now it's 550 based on the new regulation. First time work permits, yeah, it's not free anymore. Yep. Asylum is costly now. Yeah, nowadays because they gave a lot of money into ICE based on this new bill, just expect deportation to really be like, yeah, it's gonna be tough. I'm just looking here. Police officer shot outside immigration detention facility in Texas. Wow. Immigration arrests in Colorado have surged under the Trump administration. Trump got 170 billion for immigration. Yeah. Okay. So anybody else? I don't think we have more questions here. But those are solid questions. Those are really solid questions. I'm just waiting for questions. If you have questions, you just put it in the comment section. When you get out of debt, Okay. If you have a question, please, we're just answering question at this point. And I'm checking my emails as well. Okay. Nobody else has a question. We can stop for now and continue later. Okay. By the way, please share, please like. We're gonna come back later. By the way, the person also has TPS. I heard the judge black Haitian TPS student. Yeah, there's a preliminary injunction on it. You know, at this point, if they block it, we just it means that it has been suspended in terms of the government action. And then now we don't know if the government is going to appeal. But at least for now, it's on pause. So, but that doesn't change anything as far as the first question is concerned, because TPS came after, right? So the question of getting employment-based type of green card is still the same in terms of the person must be lawfully present. If the person has been unlawfully present even prior to getting TPS, they're still gonna go back on that time. So as it TPS comes before asylum, so the person has never been unlawfully present in this country and they came with a visa. Yeah, if the person has never been unlawfully present, they can try. But if they've never been unlawfully present, they can try. And they came with a visa. Yeah, they can try. Um, what happened if you marry a green card holder, but she have 6 months left to file for it? You cannot. You cannot. You're just gonna file for I-130 and the lawful permanent resident. And once the person becomes a U.S. citizen, then you follow with the green card application and the work permit application and the certificate of nationality to show that the person became a U.S. citizen. But other than that, you cannot. Yeah. No, there were. Yeah, that's what I say. If they've never been unlawfully present, they can just try. Okay, as simple as that. Yeah, if they've never been unlawfully present, the short answer is yes, they can try. Okay, anybody else? I guess this is it for today. For us, some PSG or healthcare workers being targeted by gangs. Okay, to apply for asylum. You only apply for asylum if you have a valid case. That's it. That's how you look at it. Do I have a valid claim? Am I applying within the deadline? That's it. Then you apply. If you don't have a valid claim, it doesn't matter whether it's political, particular social group, it doesn't matter. You just have to have a valid claim. If you have a valid claim, you apply. I don't know if it's a valid claim. I don't know. I have to interview the person to know if the claim makes sense. I don't know. Okay. You're welcome. Sushi. Oh, the name people put here on these online platforms sometimes make me laugh. Okay, so I guess that's it for today. We don't have, we got all the questions answered. Please like, please share. We'll come back if we get more news, okay? Until next time.